What's up?
The magic. What up, crew?
The magic. How are you doing, my brother, my sister?
I had the longest day ever.
I'm sure you did.
Oh, you don't even know the So I'm in the shower and I hear her scream.
Oh boy,
getting ready to work. My mother went out to she was dusting off the car, which I told her absolutely not to do. She fell, hit her head.
Oh no!
I went to the hospital before I went to work.
Oh no!
Yeah, and then work was crap as well. So right before I left, there was a few minutes left in my shift, and there was just this dude looking at me, and I was like, "Okay, one more." It took 40 minutes, and he was a belligerent dickhead who he had his teenage son there who was putting down his son the entire time. Yeah. I felt sorry for his son. I wanted to be like, "Yo, why don't you cool it, man?"
Well, I could see, I could see why we had our pep talk before.
Yes, I was very vexed.
Yeah, before we go any further, this is B.L.E.R.Ds of Feather. We flock together in all the ignorant shit that we love about nerdom and fandom, giving you the perspective that you've always never knew that you wanted. I am Steve. That is the Fat Mantis, and the lovely young lady right there with us is the Princess Bex. Fam, I'm sorry for the late night start. I just want to give a quick shout out to G over on Spoon for hosting the content camp panel and allowing me to be a part of that.
I know you had to teach those Spoon kids how to stream, so that was all.
There you go with the smoke. Early, jumping out the window early. Real quick shout out to Logie. Thank you so much for the chairs. Good to know that portion on Twitch still works. Hold Up TV. Make sure to support Fat Mantis over on Rogue Planet. We're on Twitch too, and make sure to support Bex on Spoon for Pillow Talk. All right, y'all. I got some spicy shit for you tonight, man.
Yes, please.
I got some spicy shit. I don't know if you saw the header for the video, but I sent Bex. Bex is a fan of Sailor Moon, right? Mantis, you and I, when there was nothing else on Adult Swim
Sailor Moon necklace and earrings
on Cartoon Network, you know what I'm saying? In between waiting for Cowboy Bebop.
Sailor Moon when I was a kid, yeah, fuck yeah. I liked Mars, man.
Listen,
bro, her legs, really.
It's 2023. I accept your choices, and I want to validate you and just make sure you know that you're welcome and in a safe space.
This is like me liking Pretty Little Liars. Pretty Little Liars is hot 25-year-olds pretending to be 16-year-olds solving crimes. And Steve used to be like, "Why are you watching this shit? It's for girls." I'm like, "No, it's not. It's clearly for guys because it's for hot chicks."
I believe everyone is allowed one illegible argument in defense of one of their fandoms, and that was definitely yours. I remember you were hitting me up. You're like, and this, and this, and this. And I'm like, bro. The key demographics for the show say 85% women viewership. But anyway, so Sailor Moon, right? Sailor Moon. Large fandom. We're going to talk about some Sailor Moon stuff. I want to hear about Bex's experience with Sailor Moon. I know she's a lover. And then we're going to talk about cosplaying as a blerd. Huge cosplaying blerd community. I don't know if you guys go on these little apps called Instagram, I believe it's pronounced.
Oh, that's a fad. That'll be good.
And Facebook and TikTok. But a very large community of blerds out there getting their dress on appropriately for Comic-Con and other things. So that's what we're talking about tonight. Let's get into Sailor Moon. Now, Bex, how did you come into Sailor Moon? When did the love affair start for you?
Growing up, we only had cable in the living room, and me and my sister, we had the little TV in our room back when you had to turn the knob and adjust the antenna and all that. And Sailor Moon used to come on this network called the WB, and that was my shit. That was my favorite. That was my favorite show. I used to mock her in the transformation sequence or whatever. I had a little headband that I made for myself, and I would take it and I would just yeah, that's I love Sailor Moon. And as an adult blerd, that's what I spend my money on, Sailor Moon trinkets, because they make little Bex happy.
Okay. Go ahead, Mantis. I know you were about to say something.
No, I understand it, and I think we all. Steve won't admit it, but I have a feeling that Steve like has some hidden, like little kid thing that he's into, and he won't let anyone know. Like for me, it's the Transformers. Like the reason I like the Transformers is it reminds me of what it's like to be a kid.
Mm.
And so she has Sailor Moon. It transports her back to a time of innocence. Transformers does it for me. Steve's like, oh, I don't remember a time where there wasn't blood and madness in my entertainment. I bet you there was. I bet you there was.
No. Honestly, you got me pegged wrong, man. It's just here's my thing, right, about Sailor Moon. I was never the biggest fan for a few different reasons, but mostly because I couldn't understand what her power set was. Like every time I watched the show, I felt like I was stuck in a fever dream. I'm like, what is happening right now? Who's the guy with the tuxedo? What are the other girls for? Why does this seem like something that shouldn't be shown at 4:00 in the afternoon and maybe at 10:00 at night? Why are their dresses so short? How? Like, same thing I said about Pretty Liars. What's their power set? Why are their dresses so short?
Seeing a theme here, right?
But me personally, I started doing more research on it by way of the actual graphic novels, right? So they used to shout out to St. Mark's Comic. I remember going in there one day and seeing a Sailor Moon graphic novel, and like most people who wandered around that area back then at my age, I wasn't buying nothing from those fools. I'm like,
Right.
I'm
browsing the whole time.
comic book and dip out. But that's when I realized I was like, oh, there's an actual story here. There's an actual story and there's substance. So I won't shit on anyone's nerdom. But the question I want to ask, since we're blerds up here, why are so many black people, whether they be ADOS, FBA, Caribbean Americans, or African continent born, why are they so drawn to Sailor Moon? This is what I want to know. I sent Bex a video today, Mantis, with grown men dressed up like Sailor Moon characters twerking.
Okay. That's a different thing. Here's what I'm saying. I think that the people who are into the fandom and people who sexualize the fandom are different things. Like bronies and actual fans of My Little Pony are totally different creatures. Right? And so a bunch of dudes dressed as Sailor Scouts. No offense to anyone in your lifestyle choices. But fuck that shit.
Beck says she was in support of it in the spirit, and she invoked the power. Like she was a Protestant. She's like, I invoke the Holy Spirit of Sailor Moon, and I ordain this acceptable.
I said, in the name of the moon, I accept this because I did, and I do.
In the name of the moon, you accept this. So here's what I think is the problem.
Okay.
I think that this is one of the. I think I'm going to sound like the devil right now. Acceptance is becoming a problem.
Oh, what do you mean?
And so I'll give you an example with the rise of the bronies in My Little Pony.
Okay.
That it started with their like dudes, and I remember at one point I even considered myself a brony until they turned out to be what they were. But at the beginning, it was just dudes who like My Little Ponies, and the new My Little Ponies they put in like adult humor. Remember, it's from the couple who made Samurai Jack. They had like adult humor hidden within it, and so it was when I would watch the cartoon, I was like, "That's pretty clever."
Right.
But then these guys started getting weird and dressing up like ponies and doing furry kink and furry comic books. And then somehow I'm supposed to be accepting of that. And this is a little kid's show. And I'm like, we have to draw the line somewhere. And so I think that sometimes we're like, well, I'm accepting everyone. I don't kink shame. Well, where does it end?
Okay.
When you have somebody turning everything into a dick joke about Sailor Moon, I'm sure, Bex, you've seen the comics and the art, like the pornographic art people put online about Sailor Moon.
To be honest, I know it exists, but I haven't come across it. But I know it's out there. I know it exists.
And Bex is about to make my point right now. Bex is a true fan, right? A true fan acknowledges that there are disparaging things about your nerdom out there, about your fandom, right? But you're like, I'm not getting mixed up in that shit, and I'm definitely not going to any hotel conventions where people are doing weird stuff. I'm gonna stay. I see Bex staying safe in the safe part of a con. like sweaty men dressed up like Sailor Moon.
Do you accept them in your cons? That's another question. Do you accept the people who are sexualizing your thing at the cons?
I want to answer your original question though. You asked what was the deal with black people in Sailor Moon. Okay. I don't think it's the deal with black people in Sailor Moon. It's the deal with black people in anime in general.
Okay.
Black people love anime. Like we love,
Oh, well.
and I think at the end of the day, it has something to do with escapism. We want to
Oh,
escape, and this was, for me, this was a big way for me to escape. Even as a little girl, like this was my form of escapism.
So I feel like I agree with you. Black people do seem to like anime, but it's only certain anime. There's certain anime they do not get down with for some reason.
Like what?
Like I would say, like the recently that new show I've seen, Spy Family. I don't think black people are like into it, but they love Dragon Ball. They love Sailor Moon. They love what I mean. They love certain things. I don't know if there's a lot of black people who like My Hero Academia actually.
actually, there is. There's a large community. There's a large, as you can find them. If you type in hashtag My Hero Academia and put black after it, you're going to see some amazing videos.
Okay. So maybe I'm just wrong, but like
I agree with Bex. I do think that black people are drawn to anime for the escapism, but I think it translates from what we've seen growing up, right? My dad, my stepdad, my dad, all my uncles, all the older black men I know when I was coming up as a kid, they all watched karate films and they all watched kung fu flicks, right? And that opened the gate to all Asian media, I think, for African Americans, Caribbean Americans, black people, the entire diaspora, right? And then you get drawn in because it really is like a generational thing, man. Like I went straight from watching Shaolin 36 Chambers of Death into whoa. I remember the first time I stumbled onto an anime, I was like, what is this? I shouldn't have been watching it though. I'm gonna tell you straight up, it was Wicked City, and that is not for a 13-year-old child. I jumped in on that one. I was like, what is happening? Why are there 13 of these appendages going inside this person?
Right.
So I agree with you totally, Bex. Mantis, I know you had something you wanted to say in regards to it. It looked like you were going to say something else.
Well, so here's my theory. Here's actually my theory. So up until recent, these things don't count because everyone's a sellout and everything's sold out already. But like, so rap music was the music of rebels. Rock had already sold out. Rap was the music of rebels. Karate, kung fu, and anime were the entertainment of rebels. And mainstream shit sucked, and that's why I think that blacks gravitated to it. Cool blacks, because there's a resistance feel to it. I'll give you an example. How did I get put onto Dragon Ball? This is before everyone sold that and it was on Cartoon Network. It wasn't. It was you buying VHS tapes in shady neighborhoods from shady Chinese dudes. And you're like, you sure this has 200 episodes on it? And they goes, give me money. And I'm like, you sure he didn't rip you off? And he didn't rip us off, but it was like you had to know where to go to get it and see it. And that's right. Cool. And only cool people were watching the anime back then.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point, man, because it was counterculture. There was a great meme that came out a couple of years back, and it shows like a nerdy black kid shaking hands with a thug, and underneath it says anime, the two things that this group of people can agree on.
Yeah, I know. I feel that.
Hold on. Bex dropped out. Let me just hide. Oh, she's coming back up right now. Bam. So I wanted to ask you specifically, Bex. Let's just have fun, man. Mantis, I'm sorry you had such a hard day. We're praying for your mother.
I'm sorry I've been grumpy. I will admit, I will apologize for that. I was grumpy.
It's okay, man. Everyone is grumpy once in a while. I stay in the grumpy phase, so people never know when I'm grumpy. But I wanted to ask Bex. So as a woman, as a black woman, how do you get to past the identification part, right? Because right now everything is about representation. People want to see themselves represented on the screen. How does that translate into your love of Sailor Moon?
It didn't really matter that much to me back then. I mean, it mattered, but it didn't really matter until I got older. Sailor Moon came out in like the 90s. I'm a 90s baby, so when I first saw it, I was probably like 5 or 6 or something like that. So like the whole representation thing, that really wasn't on my radar like that. Like I was just more so into the whole like magical girl aspect of it. Like that's what locked me in. And then like the whole representation thing didn't really come until I got older and I started to be exposed to more things, more woke things. You know what I mean?
Can't say the W word. Can't say the W word.
Actually, no, Max, are you? You know, you could admit it, but do you consider yourself woke?
What does that even mean?
I mean, you just use the word though.
I think that's the appropriate response. What does it even mean anymore?
Right.
Well, what's your definition of woke, Bex?
I'm not sure even how to like classify it anymore. Like, because like it's taken on like people say it in like so many aspects and it represents so many like different things. But to me, like I can remember like times where, I was just living my own like little delusional life and then I just got introduced to something and like to me that's what it means. Like it's like a shock to you, like a culture shock, and then you finally realize and you see things in a different lens, or you see things for what it really is.
Because it's funny. When I was coming up, woke was slang, and it only referred to the black community, and it only referred to black consciousness. And white people didn't know about it, and they certainly didn't fucking use it.
Right.
And they've appropriated that word, and really pisses me off. But when a brother would be like, "Stay woke," he meant like fight the power, fight the man.
Yeah.
This wasn't some shit they're talking about equity, diversity, and inclusion, or some fucking old white term.
I love Spicy Mantis, folks. What you're seeing here is a rare glimpse behind the curtain right now. It's Spicy Mantis.
But it's funny that I literally right before this started, I was reading an article about how somebody said The Last of Us is racist.
Really?
Yeah.
Racist against who?
They said that because apparently there's more black people suffer more in The Last of Us than any of the other races, and I like. Other than that, that guy and his little brother, I don't know what they're talking about. Am I a racist because I don't see the suffering or something? But that's what it is. Everything's racist. Everything is either woke or racist nowadays, right?
Yeah, it's crazy because the whole woke thing, right? Like, yeah, it started off as like knowledge of self and stay woke to like certain forms of struggle and oppression and stuff like that. And I hadn't caught on to the whole Last of Us is racist thing. But here's the thing that I do want to zero on with the both of you fine, intelligent people. Now, Bex, I'm not trying to put you on the hot seat. So now that we are in the era of representation, you have a love for Sailor Moon. The property itself means something to you. Let's say they reboot Sailor Moon, still taking place in Japan, right? Still schoolgirls in Japan, but they're like, hey, we're going to add a black girl and a Latino girl, and we're going to add, does that impact the original core material for you? Like, does it kind of make you go side-eye like, now what are these black people and these Puerto Ricans doing in this all Japanese school? Does it diminish it at all for
you? I would be here for it first and foremost. Like Issa Rae said, I'm rooting for everybody black. But I would give it, not everybody, but but I would give it the side eye because I would question why, because people like to pander. You know what I mean? Like
right.
getting the black okay or getting the black vote, like that's the thing. Like people want that. So I would question like, okay, are you being genuine or are you just pandering to the black audience? And of course I would have to see like what other things are into it as well. Like, okay, who is this black character? Like how she acts or how they act, things like
my thing is that as long as the character is cool,
right,
and not here's what it is. People throw the word token around all the time. I don't think that just because a minority is there, they're a token. I think that if they're there and they're not repping, they're a token.
Right.
Like if you've seen, I don't know what it's a good example. One of the worst examples I've ever seen was on, they did a reboot of 90210.
Right. Yes, I knew you were going there.
Yeah, and they just have this one black guy in there, and he has no plot lines, and he's the adopted little brother of one of the white girls, and he's just there to be a black dude there. Like they gave him no plots, no nothing. That is a token.
I can't but what are you talking about?
They did this reboot of 90210, and it was the worst. It was the worst case of tokenism I've ever seen because they literally were about to start production. They're like, we don't have a black guy, and they're like, hire a janitor and put him in the shot. And then they're like, does he have a story? He'll be adopted. I don't know. And it went like that. And so as long as if the character is cool and doing stuff, then I don't think it's a token, and I think it's cool. You know?
Yeah, no, actually, I agree with that, man. It's funny that you bring that up, tokens, right? Because I think that's another word like woke where it just doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't make any sense when people use it in a lot of contexts. Like, all right, there's one black kid in the town, but that's an actual genuine experience that a lot of black people have in America where they're like, am I the only black person in Nebraska? Holy shit, why did we move here, mom and dad? Like, what's going on right now?
That is very real.
Let me circle back because I think I know how Mantis feels about this. Mantis, one of your favorite properties. They insert a black person, a Latino person. You kind of already answered this. Now, if it's done well, are you here for it? Like, and does the geographical location of the show matter to you? Like, would you really be that mad if Castlevania did have a black character?
Yeah. No, I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine with it. I don't even know. Like, so here's the thing. Like, Sailor Moon takes place in Japan, but like, this is a weird question. I'm not sure if anyone can answer that. Is Sailor Moon herself a white chick?
Thank you.
Like, and so why is the leader of the clique the white chick? Like, she's a blonde hair, blue eyed chick. So it's not just that she's blonde, because all the other girls have weird hair, but she also has blue eyes.
Right.
So at that point, as long as we're getting that weird, why not have a black and Latina in there, right?
I could dig that. Bex, I'll let you respond to that. Ever bother you, the Sailor Moon, blonde hair, blue eyed Japanese girl? Or is she just an army brat?
There's been lots of debates on that, like on Twitter, and like a lot of people are like, okay, she's not white, she's not Japanese, she's from the fucking moon. Like she's an alien. Like she's an alien. She's from the moon. So I don't
know. You know who I love, and I always defend, and people try to hate on him. From Transformers, Jazz. You guys know Jazz?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jazz is very problematic by today's standards. He's very problematic.
But he basically was a street pimp, but a robot. Like, all the other guys had white voices, and he not only had a black voice, but he talked like a radio DJ. He's like, "Come on, baby, let's do this." And I'm cheering him on. I'm like, "This guy's cool."
Now, if you cheer too loud for him, they're definitely coming for you. They're definitely coming for you, bro. The crazy thing is, this is the real question I have about Sailor Moon, right? And we can move on to cosplay, or we can, we'll see how long this takes us. Now, shout out to all my feminists, right? Inclusion, representation, girl power, all those things. Do you think Sailor Moon is actually an overly sexualized fantasy show that a lot of, questionable things happen? There's some questionable shots in Sailor Moon,
Okay, so we've had this discussion before, and I had mentioned to you that the show was created for boys at first. Like, they didn't expect for little girls to catch on to it. Like, it was for boys. So with that in mind, of course, you have little boys, like, and puberty, and of course the skirts are going to be extra short, and of course they're going to be like some questionable shots or whatever, because that's little boys were their audience, and they wanted to get a hold of their attention. So
you blaming men again.
Well, I am blaming. Yeah, you're fucking right.
I don't think that it's just a boy thing. And so
no, it's not just a boy thing. And they had a gay couple, like a lesbian couple on there as well. So
I didn't know that. Holy shit.
Sailor Uranus and Sailor
Uranus. Say Uranus.
And Sailor, I forgot what the other Sailor Scout was.
Yeah, it was the later sailors when the extra sailors came.
It wasn't really like, of course, it wasn't on the American version, but you can kind of pick up on it. But like in the Japanese version, they went all out. Like they didn't.
Right, they were, especially in their anime, they have less fears about that stuff. But I was at Comic-Con And you guys know the comic writer Gail Simone.
Hurt, yes, hurt.
So Gail Simone in real life is like, she's feminist and she's also plus size. She's a big girl. And she got a writing gig for Red Sonja. And I was actually at the Women of Marvel panel. But someone knew that she got a side gig writing for Red Sonja, the comic book. And when it was time for the Q&A, a girl asked, she said, "I understand you're doing Red Sonja. Are you gonna like do something about the body image problem because she's all sexy? Are you gonna what are you gonna do to make body positivity?" Assuming that Gail Simone, being a plus size woman, is into that. And she goes, "Absolutely not." And she's like, I don't know about you, but I like sex in my comics. I like the women looking sexy.
Say that.
Red Sonja. And this is a woman. This is like a 40-year-old woman saying this.
Say that. Okay.
And so I do believe that even if given a chance, women writers and creators will still put sex appeal in it because women are sexual creatures too.
But no one will.
What?
Say again,
sex sells.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just ask Rob Liefeld. He's like, make them bigger and I want more. I want more.
Bigger and more bouncy. I love the idea that Sailor Moon's about the superheroes dressed as Sailor Scouts. But once again, I'm a boy, so
I didn't know we were gonna talk about Sailor Moon. Like, I'm wearing my Sailor Moon jewelry and I have on like a pleated skirt and everything. Like, I'm here for it.
Show us. Oh wait, was that inappropriate? I mean, if you wear it out in your house, you can show it on stream, right?
The question is, would she wear it out the house? Is the question.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man, because I was telling Bex, and I think I told you this before, Amanda, so I don't want to put this as fact, but I had heard a rumor that Sailor Moon was originally intended to be a hentai or hente, however you pronounce it, and that was the original concept behind it. Now, it's one of those things, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Could it be reversed that so many hentes have been inspired by Sailor Moon? And I just got to say, man, there's a point of diminishing return, right? There's some stuff. If you're a real hente fan and you're catching a replay on this, hit me up on the Hold Up TV Gmail, because I want to know one thing. When is enough? Right?
Yo, that's another thing I have about the problem with the app that will not be named. A lot of those kids, I was exposed to shit I wasn't ready to, and I'm an adult, but all these kids were into that. And I didn't know what hentai was until I was on that app. And the kid was like, "Yeah, I'm into hentai." I'm like, "What's hentai?" And they're describing it in chat. And I'm like, "What?" So,
are you being serious right now?
I didn't know that word. I didn't know that word. Like, I knew Legend of the Overfiend and like stuff like that. But like, I didn't know not only was there a genre of it, but that people would openly talk about it. Like,
it's totally normalized. And the worst thing is when you meet someone who's like an aficionado, they're like, "Oh yeah, I only mess with 13." Like, and I'm like, what? What are you saying out loud in public?
To put myself on blast, I hate that when you go to the free porn tubes, there's a category of that. They have all the categories and they're like hentai. And I'm like, what?
Are you guys kink shaming?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's all right for like a young boy to be like, his first sexual understanding is like Sailor Moon, but like, no, if you're an adult, if you're old enough to be on these sites, you should evolve past lusting after cartoon characters. Like, right?
No, Bex is not with you. She's 100% lusting after tuxedo mask.
Yeah, shouldn't that apply across the board though? Like other things in a bedroom, like dressing up as maybe like cartoon characters, or like.
I think that's different. I think that's different.
How is that different?
Well, because they're human. They're actual physical humans in the real world. If someone is putting on a cartoon to jerk off to it, they have a problem and they should see a therapist.
But if
you're a little kid,
if your significant other is dressing up as Sailor Moon and you're jerking off to that, that's okay.
No, but it's a real life. It's like a it's live action. It's live, it's a live action version.
Okay.
Somebody's like, when I was a kid, X-Men, I've always liked Psylocke, and then your girl's like, okay, I'll dress up like Psylocke in a purple bikini. Yeah, that's cool. It's the live action Psylocke. What's wrong? What's wrong here?
No, there's nothing wrong. I just love the dynamic.
I personally, I'm sorry, I'm probably people are gonna hate on this on the rewatch, but I personally think that if you're jerking off to a cartoon on purpose, like not stranded on a deserted island to have no other porn or something, you should see a therapist.
Well, how do you do it by accident? If you don't mind me asking, what's the accident?
I mean, you stumble across stuff when you're on your epic search of the perfect video, so shit happens.
Oh my
Right,
goodness!
of real humans though, like being into anime. I don't know. There was somebody also on that app who was like a good friend of mine, and she was really into anime, and she said she couldn't watch live action movies.
Really?
He's like, I can only watch anime.
Really?
That's the only thing I can watch. I get bored when watching live action, and I'm like, that's not healthy. That is not.
Listen, I want to key in on something that Beck said, man. You said when you're on your hunt for the perfect video, and I think that goes heavily with the whole like progressive thing, not progressive like sensibilities in regards to your political views, but people are just like more, and then they stumble on to the 18 inchers and it's 26 tentacles, and they're just like, yes, like, now I can live on my.
And so, that's the word that they're looking for.
So my theory about like the porn laws of like where hentai came from,
right,
is that this is so bizarre.
Okay.
At least in print form. Actually, this is actually in video form too. I've actually seen this. Look at me revealing how I know porn. In Japan, right, you can show everything but genitals. Yeah. So they actually make porns where they blur out the money shots. However, you're allowed to produce a drawing of it, and there's nothing legally against that.
Oh, so you're saying that was the substitute.
I think that was the evolution, that they're like, well, we can't see a dick penetrating something, but in a cartoon we can, so let's draw it really good.
And 18 of them, no less.
Yeah. I guess that's how it went, and now we got a generation of fucked up kids.
My favorite part of tonight is
what was that?
Good, Bex.
I said a win is a win.
It's true. Yeah. You gotta take those movies where you can get them. My favorite part of tonight is probably going to be Mantis. That moment where you're just like, it's live action. It's live action. I feel like I'm alone in the world. All right. So I'm not going to keep you guys long, but because we started late, and I know Mantis has. No. Mantis has got to get up for work. I'm not ending the stream now, but I want to get into this real freaky shit, right? Because this is not something I'm into, but I'm not judging anyone. But I got so much respect for you people cosplaying as a blerd. Man, this shit is on the next level. I got to say, when you talk about black excellence, if you're not talking about black cosplayers, then you're missing out. But there seems to be a bunch of different lanes. So are either one of you into cosplaying at all? Like, have you dressed up and gone to a con, or do you just wear stuff in your house? Maybe take pictures.
It's funny. I'm really into Halloween and dressing up for Halloween, but I don't do it at cons because I want to wear comfort clothes when I go to cons. Because you're walking around all day and you got to move. Sometimes you got to run to a panel, right, and I don't want to like have wings on me, and, like robot shit while I'm running around. Also taking the train afterwards. Oh my god, that's
people looking at you once you leave the safety of the con, and now you're back in normal society.
I've given the person the look. Like I'm on the train and some dude with wings comes in, and his wings are.
What about you, Bex? I know you're into the con. What's that experience like for you?
Okay, so the whole like dressing up aspect, that's my shit. Like I have a core. Like my core is princess core. So I literally dress like a fucking princess every day when I'm not at work. Like that's what I do.
Wait, every day?
Every day when I'm not at work. That's what I do.
You go home, you dress up like a fairy princess?
I mean, not like a fairy princess, but like my clothes, they match the aesthetic. Like the puff sleeves, the skirts, like the poofiness, like yeah. I am committed to my aesthetic.
Mantis was like, out your IG real quick.
I know this is super random.
Go for it.
What are your thoughts on Meghan Markle? Is she the princess that we were always supposed to have?
Oh.
Or is she just some con woman, who turned Harry into a beta cock?
Okay, I'm gonna break that down and let me address the cosplay thing first. My first, I've only been to one Comic-Con, and that was my first time cosplaying, and I dressed up as Sailor Moon, like Steve knows the story. And
You got pictures?
no, I don't have pictures, unfortunately. I'm sorry. And it was a really bad experience because like I got questioned, like yeah, I got asked stupid questions by it was mostly from the men, like from the men in the Comic Con. Just dumbass questions. Like I'm aware that Sailor Moon isn't black, so yeah. Like like I
Yeah.
know that. Like it was just a very uncomfortable experience. So that was like my first and last Comic Con. I would like to go to another con, but I don't know. Like I don't know if I would do the whole cosplay thing again because I felt like really uncomfortable and I was by myself as well, so I don't know.
That's weird because I feel like I see cross racial everybody, man. I've encountered a black everyone, black Luke Skywalker, black Superman, like you know what I mean?
And I did too, and I didn't understand why I was being singled out. Like it was really weird to me.
The funniest one is like I met a white Storm and I asked her who she was.
Oh no.
It doesn't work if you're not black. She was a white girl, white hair, wearing black leather, and I was like, I don't know you. She's like, I'm Storm. I was like, oh.
You mean Jean Grey? She's like, no, Storm. You mean Rogue? I have a theory about your story, Bex. Your experience as a black Sailor Moon. So there's this thing where nerds, I don't know if you're aware of this, don't know how to communicate with women. So in their mind, they're about to say some smooth shit. Like they're gonna be like, man, I really like how you're authentic and like the way you got the costume down to the exact thing. But what happens is their voice cracks. They're like, you're a black girl and you're dressed like Sailor Moon. So I think there could have been some of that. And notoriously, no offense to anyone, but white nerds encountering a black girl that they might be into, there's some other stuff they got to work out there, right? Yeah, they're probably terrified of you.
I agree
You're
with you.
probably right, but I'm just gonna put it out there. It was mostly black men. But go ahead,
Oh
continue.
hell no!
No, what are you talking about? No, what con did you go to? Who are these
Yeah, where were you in Alabama or something?
Yeah.
Oh, I was in fucking Baltimore.
Oh, I've seen Black Doctor Strange, Black Tony Stark. I've seen Black Professor X before, man. What the fuck?
All right, so you're gonna answer Mantis' second part of that question about Meghan Markle. Is she the princess? Because actually, I do want to dedicate an entire episode to Princess Core and like get slides and everything like that. But is she the princess that the Princess Core was asking for?
No.
Why not, Bex? Do tell. What's wrong? She's she looks like a Disney drawn princess. She's light, right? She has straight hair.
And actually, that's something you could. That's what I like. Maybe I don't criticize, but a lot of times in anime, when a character's supposed to be black, they're always so light skinned. I can't tell they're supposed to be black.
Right, or they're Mr. Popo.
Oh, right.
I didn't ask for. I didn't. I'm not over there with those people. Like I am in America, damn it. So that didn't have anything to do with me. And for the longest time, I thought she was white. I didn't know she was biracial.
Really? I think it's
Yeah, I think it's obvious. Maybe us biracial people can sense each other from a distance.
Like looking at her when I finally kept seeing her on the screen, like I could tell, but like as far as like I've never seen her before. Like I didn't watch the show she was on. I didn't know who she was until people, like really started talking about her. So
she wasn't popping in the Princess Core. There was no hashtag Meghan Markle type stuff.
Not in this Black Princess Core space. No. No, I didn't see it. Sorry.
Go ahead, man.
I just okay. So I have like a bunch of weird emotions because like when he first appeared,
right,
I was like, oh, look at this. It's a new age. The world is changing. Harry's marrying a black chick. There we go. And I know she was super light skinned, but that's where it starts, right? You gotta get your genes in there,
Oh my God.
times will change, right? And then she started having a falling out with the family or whatever. They moved to Canada or whatever, and now recently, she's just coming off like a fucking asshole. Like I don't like she's suing South Park. You heard about this?
For what?
Because they did a parody of them.
It's South Park. They do parodies of everybody.
Everybody. And she's apparently mad, and she's like, I'm suing them for they don't even use her name. They call them the Prince and Princess of Canada. It's actually really funny, but I don't know, man. She's acting like a real entitled biatch,
I'm back.
But anyway, yeah, so she's the fake princess. We need a real princess. So who, in your opinion, is the real princess?
Oh, that's easy. Erykah Badu. Erykah Badu is the real princess that we asked for. And I think she fits the demographic perfectly. She has the perfect crown on top of her head. She carries herself like a princess. And I'm not being facetious at all. Like, if I want to see anyone represented, if I could cosplay and not be judged for a day, it wouldn't be as Erykah Badu. I know you thought I was going to say that. But if I could see someone cosplay as Erykah Badu, she is the princess we deserve.
She is great. I really do like Erykah Badu. I haven't thought about her in a long time, but yeah, she's cool.
But all right, let me ask you this question. Because we're all three of us, we've grown up as blerds. We were a part of this thing before it became popular in culture. And the reason I brought up the cosplay, do you think things like cosplaying in the black community has really normalized the blerd experience? Like, is it more acceptable to do this as a black kid now than it's ever have been before?
Absolutely. A whole bunch of things within the nerdom are more accepted now than it was, back when we were growing up. As far as like,
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
As far as like the cosplaying, the reading of the comics is more acceptable. Watching anime is more acceptable. It's all more acceptable now.
How do you think we got here, Mantis? How did it happen? Was it a gradual thing? Go for it.
It's okay, so I have bad news for the hippies.
Okay.
The rich dudes and the corporations won the Cultural Revolution.
Okay.
And all the hippies sold out. And they don't fucking get it. So here's basically what happened. Old conservative white guys used to run corporations, and they would say, fuck these hippies and fuck these darkies. We're not going to sell orange juice to you. And then someone figured out, they said, wait a minute, but their money is green too. We should sell to everybody. And they're like, let's do it. And then they started doing like this, diversity and inclusion stuff. It's to get people's money.
Okay.
And so like when you see remember pride parades used to be, that was an act of rebellion. Pride parades. They were like,
right.
They're like, we're acting all sexualized and crazy because we're free and we're gay, right? And now you go to a pride parade and corporations sponsor them.
Okay.
That's how fucking sellouts they are, man. And it's not just them, it's everything. And so that's what happened. They try their best. The corporations are like, we need to allow there have to be black Star Wars fans.
Right.
So Disney can take their money. and there have to be black X-Men fans so they could and it goes on and on like this. And so they're trying to create the inclusion. But
okay.
it's to create revenue. It's not a genuine. These corporations aren't doing this because they love humanity. Fuck that.
Do you think that there's space for both, right? Because I definitely see the commercialization of it where it's just like it's sponsored by big cons. But what about those underground meetings? There's this whole underground black cosplay community where these fools meet up off of Facebook. They're not even going to a con. They might just show up to someone's house dressed up and just hang out and live in the fantasy.
Yeah. Have you heard of Black Fae Day?
No, what the hell is that? See, Bex is always putting me on.
Black Fae Day, and I think it's in either March or May. But like it's just basically a bunch of black people just come together and dress up like fucking fairies. And like they rent out like certain venues. Like this year.
I was about to be like, we need to do that until you said fairies.
They have like venues, and like this year they're doing like this whole like castle thing or whatever, and like you just come in like your best fucking fairy get up, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
Wait,
I've never been to one, but I always see it on the internet, and it's amazing.
yo, you realize we could do this on the? Oh, we could do this as a stream.
We definitely.
We could invite people on Faye Day, Black Faye Day.
Like, look up the hashtag Black Faye Day.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look that up.
Black
But here's the thing, and I think that's dope. I don't know if the fairy thing would be my thing, but like you can go into any blerd group, right, on Facebook, man, and you see these pictures where it's just like some of the costumes are so amazingly put together. But this would not be a stream with Bex or Mantis if it didn't go left and sexual somehow. Do you think this shit is just trending on like black? Like, okay, let me choose my words carefully. Do you think this is just a new black fetish community? Right? Like, yeah, maybe people are dressing up like Piccolo, but do you think there's some sexual part to it where Piccolo's like, oh, I've always wanted to get with Black Lois Griffin? Like, you think there's stuff like that going on? Is that like an element to
I hope
this?
it's not that. That's what I was saying from the very beginning of the stream. That like I hate when they turn this shit sexual.
We're human.
It can be titillating, but if it goes into like, if they're like we're having Black Piccolo bang Black Lois from Family Guy, I'm out.
I think that's something that you can't escape. Like, we're human and we're going to sexualize shit. Like, are we going to act like we weren't sexually attracted to some certain type of cartoon characters growing up or whatever? And now as an adult, I know it sounds weird, but like you finally find a space where you kind of maybe can act out some of those things that you've been wanting to do. So like I think my brain, the way my brain works, I'm automatically going to assume that somebody is going to be banging somebody at one of these at one of these little gatherings. Like,
absolutely. No, it should all lead to sex. As long as it's not like public, you know what I'm saying? Not as like you show up immediately and everyone's feeling each other up. I'd be like, yo, can you chill? But if two people meet each other, you know what I'm saying? If Black Gambit meets up with like Black Wonder Woman and they want to slide off on the side and bang in the back room, I'm all more power to them, you know.
Wait, Mantis, how long would it take you to walk out of the party if it turned into an all-out cosplay orgy? Like, do you walk out instantly, or do you kind of stand there with your drink like, now this is preposterous? Oh, look at what they're doing.
You watch a little, take a little photos. You know, you be slick with it though. You don't let them know, like, you know, you're like on your phone, you go and then you out, and then you storm out in a rage.
I'm here for it. Go ahead.
It's just like, but you are right that like I am seeing more and more Black cosplay. I love it. I think it's utterly amazing.
Right. That's great. But you know, and one of the things I love about the conversation, right? And as we continue to do the show, you know, we're just having fun. We get loose with it, but it boggles my mind, man, how far we've come as a people, man. Like, and I agree with you. The corporate sponsorship of some of this stuff has helped it along, but I feel like, man, we bled for this shit, right? I remember there was a time where I wore a shirt that had Captain America and Wolverine on it as a 15-year-old walking out of my my apartment in Chicago when we moved there, and you would have thought I had a swastika on.
Right.
The way some other, like the way other Black people are like, oh, that's one of those comic book reading motherfuckers. Look at this motherfucker, old fantasy ass motherfucker, old bitch ass motherfucker. I mean, I'm just like, God damn. Like, it's just, and then there's also the aspect of it too, where it's like, it makes me extremely happy to see Black people this free. Right, with all the shit that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, right? The fact that Mantis can go to Comic-Con and be the most well-dressed guy there. If you want to see some dope shit, go look at Mantis's IG and his Facebook. He's the only one in khakis at Comic-Con, like looking responsible as fuck. But I just love that there's that vibe there. Now to the sexual part about it. Listen, I'm a married man. I'm gonna walk out the room as soon as it happens, right? But it does. I do watch these things happen organically, right? I've been in situations where the Black person dressed up as an Avatar character meets a Black person from the Avatar show, and they're just like, "Let me show you my wind chimes. Let me show you
Yeah. Yo, by the way, you know what cosplay is gonna get you laid the least?
Which one?
Deadpool.
Really?
No girls hook up with Deadpool because they're like it's so common. These guys are all over the place. They can't tell if the guy is cute with the mask, and they're like, you get no play.
I'm burnt out on Harley Quinn, right? And I don't want to see the sisters dressed up as Harley Quinn. I'm burnt out.
So here's what it is. Harley Quinn used to be really eloquent about like the things, and it was started to decline. It started becoming lazy cosplay, where a girl would put on some light makeup, ponytails, maybe a red and blue shirt, and you're like, who are you supposed to be? Like, I'm Harley Quinn. Another one is Rey from Star Wars. Every brunette white chick, it's just wears like beige, and they carry a stick, and that's what they call cosplay.
I like the Harley Quinn cosplay, especially when I see black girls do it. But I want more of the club dress, like the black and gold diamond club dress.
I know exactly.
I want that. Like nobody's doing that. Should I do that? Like people should do that.
I'll respect any cosplay that's done really well.
Right.
So yeah, definitely if someone puts work in Harley Quinn, but I'm saying nowadays girls are really lazy with it.
I 100% agree with you.
There's a bunch of chicks who just dress slutty, and you're like, who are you? I'm Harley Quinn. Okay.
You know what I feel bad? Who I feel bad for is the boyfriend of Harley Quinn. For multiple reasons, but one would be considered body shaming, so I'm not going to say it. But I always feel bad for the guy that went out and his girlfriend, who's normally just a nerd, who wears like Jinko pants or big cargo pants, and she's baggy, but this is her one time to let her freak flag fly. And he's the only one that ever knew she had a banging body. Now every other sweaty nerd in the building knows that his girlfriend has a banging
she's
body.
at a con, so she just met 300 dudes who all gave her a number in front of the boyfriend. And the boyfriend's cool, so he doesn't say anything. He's not supposed to be jealous. Age where men are sensitive, and it's cool for her to have male friends. Whatever. Fuck that smell.
He's like, I'm totally secure. I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know. I just think it's strange that she left with those 3 big guys. You don't think that's strange? That's pretty weird.
By the way, I heard the most. This is total side note, but I heard the most fucking crazy shit the other day.
What's that?
So there was a couple, they're friends of mine, and they were talking. They're telling a story about a house party they went to, and then they talked about how like the guy who owned the party had such a crush on her, and then they tell the story where when they start meeting the guy and they're talking to him, he looks at the girl and he says, "I'm going to take you on a tour of the house," and he looks at the boyfriend and he says, "You can stay here."
No,
and then guess what? He stayed.
Oh hell no. Hell no. He's got to be into it. You taking a what? Man, fill this 5-finger disc.
What happens, they were telling that story, and when I heard that part, I was like, that's disgusting. And then she laughed and she said, and he stayed. And I was like, you didn't stay. He's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, you fucking simp. Oh my God.
Look at Bex's face. She's like, on the girl's side, she's on the guy's side, but she's not on the boyfriend's side. I've read that all in your mind right now.
He wouldn't be my boyfriend anymore after that.
What do you know? He
wouldn't be my girl. No, I mean, obviously, I'd follow them. Maybe fight him. I'd probably fight him before any touring would happen.
Go ahead, man.
Challen says they try to copy him and end up being disgustingly unfunny, annoying when he's talking about Deadpool.
Oh, it's the truth.
They think they're funny. They're just idiots. That's another thing about cosplay. When you dress up, you feel empowered, sometimes like the character. Right? Yeah. And you're like, I'm Superman. I can lift a car. I'm Deadpool. I can tell a joke, even though you're normally not funny.
I want to go deeper with that for a second, man, especially the Deadpool thing. You know what it is, Mantis? It's the mask over their face. I can't see who's under that Deadpool mask, right? But they're like, now I can finally be me 100%. And the shit that starts to come out of their mouth, and that's usually when you find out if someone's a little zesty too. Nothing wrong with that, but I've noticed there's some people who lean into that core part of the Deadpool character, and they're like, ha ha, I grabbed your dick. And I'm like, what's going on here, man?
That's yeah, the dick grabbers. I know what you're talking about.
It's not cool. I mean, it's not as bad as letting your girlfriend go off with a perfect stranger to go tour his mansion, but I don't think we're going to recover from that one, actually.
Timmy says, what the fuck? I've never felt like the character.
Never felt like,
I feel like every time I've dressed up like a character, I felt like the character. Even when I dressed up like Birdman, I felt power.
I dressed up as a chicken head once, Halloween when I was like 18. And I've never felt so empowered, man. I was just like, I could be the full chicken head I want to be. I had little puffs in my head and everything. It was crazy.
Oh, yo, when you dress like a serial killer, like you really do feel like you could go on a murder spree.
How do serial killers dress?
Well, a lot of times I'll be like a killer clown. I've been like a killer surgeon, with blood all over him. Obviously masks and shit. Like, but when you're playing that role for Halloween, you do feel like you're like, I could kill a school bus of children right now, and that would be amazing.
Mantis chose violence and the darkness. The darkness on that one. Well, let's tune into Bex. Bex, what do you think? When you dress up as a provocative character, does that make the freak flag fly a little bit higher, or what's going on there?
Fuck yeah, I'm feeling it. Like we're getting into it. We're getting into it 100%. 1,000%.
What are your cosplays?
I told you I've only did it once though. Like, but I'm just saying, like, if I was to do it again, like, I'm getting fully into it.
Tim disagrees with you 100%, Mantis, in regards to dressing up like.
Well, apparently you haven't done it right, girl. You have not done it right. But like, really dress up like a psycho killer, like a clown or something. Have a bloody axe, walk around. You feel it.
All right, let's get it. Let's do it. So I want you guys to build the cosplayer you're attracted to. So you just arrived to the scene. Who are you checking for? What type of cosplay are you attracted to?
I mean, do I really need to answer this?
Yes, you do. You need to be on the record. Because
The booth girl. You do not understand. Like, I usually go to Comic-Con, and this is smart, with my sister, and she has to put sense into me because I'm constantly hanging out with booth girls. And
what's a booth girl?
You know, so they get girls to dress up like slutty characters, usually like mainstream ones like Wonder Woman or Catwoman, and they hang out by the booths and they chat dudes up, but they try to get you to buy. And like they're plants, they're getting paid, and like I talking to these girls, and my sister's like, "Okay, Roy, okay." I like, she's interested in my story, and my sister's like,
man, I just want to free you from all these shackles, man. I just want to like help you just embrace the full experience. I'm going to Comic-Con with you next year.
Please come. Everyone come.
I'm like, Mantis is over there with the booth girls, and they are listening to his story. He's got a wad of ones out right now, but he's having the best time of his life. So okay, so the booth girls, but is there any particular nerdom that you're more attracted to when the girls dress up to?
Okay, so I do. Strangely, I don't feel this way about the character, the video game. But when women dress up like Chun-Li from Street Fighter, I'm like, yeah. I have tried to hang out with some Chun-Lis in my day.
I've never seen you this like reserved in these topics. We're getting into an interesting place. What is it about Chun-Li that gets you going, man? Just good.
Normally the actual character in the game doesn't. I don't even like playing with her. You know, but you know, I don't know, man. I guess because the costume's slutty, but no, you know what? Like Wonder Woman, super slutty. There might be too many of them running around. Might be the problem.
Okay.
Chun-Li, you know, too many Harley Quinns, too many Wonder Women. It's too easy.
Right. Too easy. Any Star Trek? I'm surprised you didn't say like 7 of 9. Like I was sure you were gonna say a Borg character.
No. That's not my thing. Although I do find like 60 Star Trek uniforms for women, which are just like mini skirts, friggin' adorable. So, you know, ladies out there.
On the bridge in the 60s Star Wars, like, Mantis, we have to depart now. He's like, yeah, me and her. We got our own. Anyway, baby, check this out. What about you, Bex? What cosplays you checking for?
Tuxedo mask, first and foremost. Like, that's the first thing I'm looking for. And
okay, wait, hold on. What? Have you seen how he dresses?
Yes, I've seen how he dresses.
He dresses in a tuxedo, and has woman like glasses.
Yes, I've seen it, Mantis.
And so
Nobody's judging you and your choices.
if a man were to, my choices are the women look feminine. They're dressing feminine. If a man dressed like that, you'd be turned on.
Yes.
A tuxedo
And
with a top hat
also,
with women's fucking. Okay, I'm sorry.
also, um,
Go for it.
I don't know what it is, but the like Jack from the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, you got a thing for the tux wearing fellows. Bex likes a
Do it.
classic. Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Guy wearing a suit. Oh, isn't Tim? Oh, Tim's like some sort of nun. I thought Tim was being the Sally from.
Yeah, that's one of Tim's.
I think
That's one.
Tim's dressed as Sally. I think I've seen a pic of that.
See, no, because the reason I asked that question is because I wonder if you two went to Comic-Con, right? If you went to like a cosplay event, do you need to get social lubricants to get into it? Do you have to drink beforehand? Like, I've never done this thing, but like, how long would it take, Bex, for you to like grab up Tuxedo Mask and be like, I like you, I want you, like, or does the costume already? Are you already in the zone to get there?
I'm already into it.
You're already into. You're like, I'm ready to go.
I'm already into it because even though I've only been to one, like I was already into it. Like I was already amped up. I wanted to have some fun.
See, Bex is ready to go to those
Do
places.
you have any stories for us that you like may get you in trouble, but will entertain the stream?
As far as what, like,
Meeting Tuxedo Mask, perhaps?
oh no, not yet.
You haven't hooked up with a Tuxedo Mask yet?
Not yet.
Oh,
I love that she put the not yet on there. I would assume you've got stories, man, because
It's all I should do it.
you stay down in the city for these things for 3 days at a time. You trying to tell me you never slid off with a plus size rogue?
plus size Shylock, maybe, but but I was saying the after parties are where it's at, man.
Oh.
You meet friends in all these lines. You're waiting online all the time. You meet friends and you make friends, and then they're always they're like out of town, but not that far out of town. They're like, yeah, I'm from Connecticut, so we got a hotel. And I'm like, really? And then we and a party starts up. They have a hotel party basically at the end of it.
I'm gonna go ahead, Beck.
And with my sister, there's many times my sister, like, I'm always supposed to crash at my sister's, but there's been plenty of nights where I'm like, yeah, I'm not going back with you. I'll see you tomorrow at the con.
I haven't hooked up with anybody as far as the cons, but like when we do like the whole like princess core and like royal core things. I mean, I have a few like little escapades,
Wait, hold on. Are there like balls or something for this? Like,
yes.
There's official balls and like it's organized. You guys meet up and stuff.
Yeah, like we get together and we do it. And not too long ago, there were like tons of like Bridgerton balls, like everywhere.
Yeah, Mantis, you need to do yourself a favor. Go on TikTok and look up Black Princess Core. It's a real thing.
We should freaking do a live stream from one of these things.
They're gonna do another again, like come like April. I'm pretty sure they're gonna start them back up again.
Steve, would you do that?
Oh, hell no, I'm not trying to get divorced. What the fuck?
Steve.
Motherfucker, you just dress up like a Bridgerton guy and carry a camera and make jokes. I'll get laid. You can live through me.
You don't understand. These women, they're not coming. They're looking for husbands. Like, they are looking for their life partners. They'll take a Mr. Right Now. But Bex put me onto this shit like 2 weeks ago, so I just started going through it on IG, and then I started getting into the comments because I was just expecting a bunch of loose behavior. And this is why next week I want Bex to take us through the Princess Core and just take us to its darkest places and show us everything. But man, I'm telling you, there was one woman talking in there, and I was like, oh, she's looking for a husband. Like, she was like, I dress this way to make sure that people know that I am royalty and I deserve to be treated like royalty and I will not be a modern woman. And I was like, go ahead, sister.
Women with conservative values gravitate to this sort of thing.
Yes. Yeah, we'll save it for next week, but you're definitely going to meet the future Mrs. Rogue Planet in the Princess Core.
Yeah, Timmy says, con nerds don't be showering.
That's true. It smells like a bunch of hot popcorn in most
If
of these
you're
places.
crashing at someone's house, yes, it's a good possibility they've gone all weekend without showering.
I know this isn't a pillow talk, but some of you guys need to know about what Mantis just said about the hanging out at the cons, the after parties. Mantis has a natural affinity against his will for swingers to be attracted to him. So that's why
I've gotten myself I put myself in some situations. Just being a nice guy at a party, and people are like, they're like, "Yo, you want to come hang out, have some beers?" Okay. It's a nice married couple. What could go wrong?
So, like, is that a thing? Like, have you done that? Like, do you?
So the first time I attempted it, I stopped midway, and I was like, you know what? I can't do this. And it wasn't because of that was unfolding. It was because the husband kept looking at me, like he just kept staring at me, like, and I was like, you know what? I don't think I can do this, guys. So yeah, I'm deadly serious. Like,
have you been to like one of the parties, like one of the lifestyle
I've
parties?
never been to a lifestyle party, but I'm saying like I have met up with more than once. I have either been friends with, or in one case I went home after a party with a couple that I was there. Here's what it is. My train was. I missed the last train. It was a holiday party, and so I had to wait for the morning.
Oh, like, I missed the last train. Now I have to stay here. By the way, I don't have anything
and
to
they
sleep.
were like, yo, come to our place. We got drinks. We'll drink and party. They seem nice.
Like, how do we get drinks?
Yeah, they had other plans for me. And so the entire night, I'm like dodging them and playing dumb like I don't know what they want. Like when they would sit next to me and hands would go, like, that's an interesting grandfather clock. And I'd stand up and like walk across to the other side. And I did this for hours, dodging, like playing dumb, being like I didn't know what they wanted from me. But the first time I thought I was going to get into it, and like the husband just kept eyeing me, and I was like, okay, no, that's not how I thought this was going to go.
That's what I'm saying.
When you do a devil's triangle, two dudes, there's rules, there's etiquette, and there's no eye contact. It's like the main rule of that.
The parties though.
What?
The lifestyle parties, they're fun.
Oh yeah. Oh wait. Oh, so Bex knows about these people.
Yeah, I've been to a few. I used to bartend. I used to date a guy who was in the community, and like I used to bartend at the parties.
Wait, don't you have to be married to be in that scene? Or?
I mean, yeah, no, not really. Like there were married people there.
He was a single guy looking to bang couples.
We were together, but like there were like all types of people at these parties. They would take these mansions. Like usually the married couple would be the one living in the mansion, and they would take these mansions and they would just like tear the doors down and just like have like all the rooms open, and it would just be like one big party. Like one big ass party.
This is the problem. This is the problem with the whole thing. It's like the freedom sounds cool at first until you're in it.
And he won't stop making eye contact with you.
Yeah, people are making eye contact with you. Hands are going places.
But I'm just saying, like these are for people who are committed. Like they're committed to this lifestyle. Like this is their shit. So you're gonna expect for people to go all the way, and they went all the way.
Like for instance, with that couple that I was staying and waiting for the train for, it was clear it wasn't like he wanted me to bang his wife and he just wanted to watch. He wanted to be involved, and I'm like, okay, be easy. You know what I mean? And so I think a young, how did we get on this topic? I think a young single guy might think, oh, this is fun. This is gonna be great. It's not gonna be that great, bro, because there's no rules in those situations, right?
Man, you know what I just learned about my two co-hosts? Y'all need Jesus. The both of you. Horrible.
I found Jesus. I don't
sinners out here doing stuff in costumes, and here I am watching CNN at night and Fox News, making sure I stay absolutely holy.
I like having fun, okay?
Apparently.
The crazy thing about it though is the reason I asked that question, right? So I have a horror story that I've only shared with Mantis, right? And it involves cosplaying, but it wasn't because of like a fandom. It was because of a rave. So once upon a time, before Black people were unashamed to dress up like Goku and go places and pretend like they're throwing kamehamehas, I went to a rave. And every girl there is either a butterfly, candy raver, or some form of a sexy dragon.
Right. They wear the wings and they'd be like,
After set party, after the rave, I lost Zeus. Zeus is gone, right? As usual, he pulled one of those Zeus moves on me, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm staying somewhere else tonight. So now I got to scramble because I can't go home looking the way I do, right? My mother's gonna know that I'm altered. So you start looking for people with like mind and shared philosophies.
Right.
Head home with a bunch of kids. Sometimes you got to pay a toll to have a place to stay. And I was with a young lady that I was like, okay, this is her pad. I'm going to have to pay this toll. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what I'm about to say, but I noticed something once we started getting into the light. And I'm looking at this person. I'm like, you look different outside of the club right now. And then I really started looking at this person. I was like, oh, you are different than you are outside the club because the voice octave changed. Are you picking up what I'm laying down, folks? The wings came off. The wings came off, and I was like, how the fuck did this happen? So now, I don't want anyone to think I'm a bigot or anything like that, but I got to get out of this situation.
You're a bigot. You're a bigot because you won't have sex with me.
I was also on all the acid too, right? I'm like, my eyes look like black olives. And so I'm trying to figure out a way to get out of here. I managed to maneuver my way out of the bedroom back to where everyone else is. And of course, now it's taken on a Game of Thrones-esque thing. And imagine going through this on LSD. And I'm just trying to get to the door. And everyone's like, are you okay, man? Are you okay? No, I'm good. Good, man. I'm good. I gotta go. I have to leave. I got to find my friend. I left him at the club. And they're like, no, just stay. Just stay for a little longer. And I'm like, no. I most certainly have to go. And by the time I made it back to our save point, the Haven, Mantis was actually the only person awake when I rolled in at 7 in the morning. He's like, bro, are you okay? Because I had to climb through a window.
Yeah.
Because they weren't answering
I
the door.
love that. We would go through the windows. That was our regular way of entering the place.
Next, I literally exploded through the window. My eyes still looking like olives. Thankfully, Zeus's dad was in there. Mantis was like, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. I just sat down in the chair, and that was probably why I don't cosplay. But
he said that's why I don't cosplay.
It's too much. You're hiding too much equipment.
Shaolin says, bro, the cons here have after party raves, and every year they have a cosplay burlesque show.
Ooh.
Tim says bigots. So wait, hold on. Have you guys heard of like the sexless innkeeper?
What?
So this is a concept that I never knew. So, and once again, I'm revealing what a hoe I am. But like, you know the situation you were talking about. You're out of town. You're in a weird place. The people you thought you were crashing with, you've lost connection somehow with them. And you're like, where am I going to go? And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to hook up for sleeping arrangements. Right. So my entire life, I've been hooking up. I've been paying my toll. And then I found out something about the sexless innkeeper. And here's basically what it is. That's a maneuver where you go to the person's house, you make it look like you're going to hook up with them, and then you fall asleep on them. And then you don't even put out for your sleeping arrangements.
That's so dirty.
I wish I had known that when I was younger, that I didn't have to.
I can tell by Bex's face. She's like, no, that's just a maneuver.
And if I was on the other side of that, wake your ass up. Like, no.
I wonder how well I could pretend to sleep.
We've talked about this type of stuff in private and maybe a little bit on Pillow Talk. Not only will I pretend like I'm asleep, but if it means I don't have to take a 45-minute train ride, I'll fake an orgasm too. You know what I'm saying? I'll make that woman feel like she's the greatest. I'll do. You want a sandwich?
I've definitely put out for a place to stay. I have no shame for it. Like I'm in a weird place, and I was like, I need a place to crash. This works. I look at you judging me, Bex.
I'm not judging. None of this surprises me.
Oh,
What, that Mantis is a whore, or that people do this?
That guys do this in general.
I'm sure there are women who put out for.
Oh yeah, I 100%.
Yes. This conversation took a dark turn, but that's what happens when you're three black nerds sitting around talking about adult shit. So
It's because Sailor Moon is so sexualized that it's bound to turn us to the devil's conversation.
Absolutely true. Next week, Mantis, be prepared to find out more than you've ever known about black princesses. Bex is we're gonna lose the banner. We're just gonna go a deep dive into the Black Princess core. We're gonna let her take it to all her favorite content creators. Me and Mantis will commentate. Mantis will.
We can watch the content creators and watch the stuff because I actually am very interested.
And I get to dress up. I can dress up in like my princess gear.
Do it up to the fullest, man.
Shellen says, "Why'd you call him that, Steve?"
Because he is, and I'm proud of him for it, man. He's come a long way from the young conservative fellow I met when we were 18 at Barnes and Noble.
I was uptight, motherfucker.
Good night.
Good night, Tim.
Good night, Tim. Thank you for stopping in. This sounds like I can't wait for next week. I love B.L.E.R.Ds of Feather. Once again, shout out to Shaolin for suggesting that in the chat last week. B.L.E.R.Ds of Feather. I gotta say something. Tomorrow,
yes.
Rogue Planet is doing a watch along, a Mandalorian watch along.
Ooh,
I would love people on the panel. I already, I asked Shaolin. I don't know how you're feeling about that. If anyone, I'm going to try to start at like 9. But if anyone wants to get on the panel, we'll get on stream. We're going to watch our own copy of The Mandalorian, see our reactions, and afterwards just talk about it. I think that would be a really good time. Anyone who wants to, just hit me up in my DMs, Discord.
I will be there. I'm definitely I should be out of work on time, and I don't care if I'm driving. We gotta get into it, man, because I'm so pumped for this shit right now.
I am so pumped. It's gonna be amazing.
I might even stay up and watch it. It comes on at 3 a.m?
Oh, tonight? Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
I'm going to bed. But like I'm saying, when I get out of work, we can stream this together, and it will be a good time.
You want to promote anything else going on this week, Mantis?
And then also on Friday, it's Conspiracy Hour time with me and Rogue Radio.
Okay.
My cousin from another. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. But I'm Rogue Planet. She's Rogue Radio. Occasionally we get together. We talk about the conspiracies. She is an Ohioan. She lives near the train derailment. She has a lot of conspiracies to talk about that whole thing. So
she also has an amazing singing voice. Shout out Rogue Radio. She threw up a clip on Instagram, and I was completely blown away. I was
I loved it.
So beautiful. How about you, Bex? Anything to promote?
Pillow Talk on Thursday.
All right. Now,
we are going to be we're going to be building me a man. Build a man.
Okay, so Bex, I have to apologize to you. I know because of certain political reasons, I haven't listened to the show. And however, I may be able to hear it, possibly, in a way, sort of, kind of. If you know what I'm getting at.
Yes.
Talk to Mantis.
He has no idea what the fuck I'm talking about right now.
No. Tell her off air. Mantis has been there, and he'll be there. He'll be there, man.
I know what he's talking about.
She wants you to participate in the show. That's what.
I'll come on if you ever want to go like a guest or something like that. But I don't want you to think I'm leaving you hanging. But I can't let those mongoloids on Spoon know that I go on there.
Okay.
I can't say that word anymore.
Oh, can't. Oh, there I am being not woke.
Folks, I had a great time tonight. Sorry for the late start, man. We're gonna jump off.
We're not ending this before. I noticed that you got out of the question. What cosplay turns?
Oh yeah.
I know I answered it.
Did you?
Yeah, go back and watch the replay.
Nah, nigga.
Come on, just say one thing. Come on.
Okay, so let me see, because there's actually multiple different things. You said Psylocke. I could see that being dope, but I think probably the one I would be into now would be any Dora Milaje, right? Well, okay, let me not put any, right?
Yeah, some of those broads are ugly.
Certain
Oh my
people
God.
dress as the Dora Milaje, right? Also, I think who else? Who else? Yeah, maybe Black Widow. I've had a thing for Black Widow. Storm, obviously. Yeah, yeah. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'll say it. The ones I'm not going for though. Like, I should say this off air. I think that we have to be realistic in our approach to these things, right? And it's like, maybe you're not the person to play this character. That's all I'm gonna say on that. But there's I would never dress up like Denzel Washington and expect people to treat me like that. So I expect that from women. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it real. Let's keep the air clean. Good night.
Yeah,
Get the
it's been a
fuck out of
great
here.
episode. Love it again. Blerds of a Feather. Keep watching every Tuesday.
Tuesday nights, folks, 10 p.m. Peace out.
Peace.